Hello, everyone, again, and welcome to this webinar on the Microsoft Office Specialist Certifications Overview. My name is Vlad Catrinescu, and I'll be your host for this webinar. Before we get started with the amazing content we have planned for today, let me cover some of the more boring but important housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded and will be sent to everyone who registered within 48 hours after the event. And we also encourage you to send a recording to any friend or colleague who you think might benefit from the knowledge in this webinar. And the slides will also be shared with you. We would also like to encourage you to take this opportunity to ask any questions you might have about Microsoft Office certifications. This is a topic that's really exciting in my opinion, since and not every single user out there is technical, doing PowerShell and configuring web applications. And the Microsoft certification always looks good on your CV. So it's great that Microsoft has those certifications for business users and end users. To ask questions, at the bottom of your screen, you will see a Q&A panel that you can use. So please use that. And we will make sure to cover all of them by the end of this webinar. Now, enough of the boring housekeeping, and let's get to the fun stuff. And first of all, I'd like to introduce you to our amazing special guest for this webinar, Chintan Patel, a Microsoft certified trainer regional lead from South Africa. How are you doing, Chintan?
Good yourself, lad.
I'm doing great. So, can you please introduce yourself? I'm sure a lot of people might have seen you on LinkedIn or the great content you do on YouTube, but just introduce yourself for everybody that's the first time they meet you.
Sure, Vlad. So, hello everybody. My name is Chintan Patel. As Vlad mentioned, I do some Microsoft Office training. I am a specialist in that field. I provide training on Microsoft Office applications. I do consulting on them. And I really try to push for everybody to become a Microsoft Office Specialist certified. It is something I'm going to be discussing today in great detail. What is it really all about? I do training all over South Africa. I started doing it recently online. So on my social media channels, I've been posting some videos, and I post from time to time what's new in the world of Microsoft Office.
Awesome. So, all the floor is yours. Show us uh, what's available in the Office Specialist series.
Right, thanks, Vlad. So what we are going to see today, what is the Microsoft Office Specialist Program all about? So we have a Microsoft Office Specialist Program. It is the only globally accepted standard-based credential for validating Microsoft Office skills. It tests real-world application of Office skills via project-based scenarios. It's been around since 2002. Nothing else beats it. You might attend an Office course by a training company and you get a certificate of attendance. You may get a local qualification or some certificate of competency. You might have done a course in university or a crash course via online training, but none of these compare to the high standard that the Microsoft Office Specialist certifications actually provide. Microsoft Office Specialist is the ultimate qualification for Microsoft Office skills for anybody, whether you are a school or you're an information business or end user. So I always get asked the question, why an exam for Microsoft Office? What is the point? Why should I actually go and do this? Aren't the skills just enough? Who actually cares to see what skills I know? but we also have to see what actually have you learned from the course. You attended the training course. There's proof that you attended, the certificate of attendance. But the one question I always have, how does your employer or your future employer know you are competent in Microsoft Office? If you are presented with a real world scenario and you have to apply Microsoft Office skills that you learned from the training course, will you effectively show that you are able to apply those skills to the scenario? You can be in an interview and you are asked to solve a problem right there in the interview. Will the attendance certificate help at that point? I don't think so. You can also attend the training course, be attentive, understand the concepts, be the person to answer every theoretical question that the instructor throws. You might be able to apply the skills learned instantly in your own workplace with your own issues. But where is the proof to show that you have learned and what you are applying? The same certificate of attendance won't show anything. It just shows that you were there. That's all. The instructor can possibly give a quick recommendation on LinkedIn and on a resume, but that still doesn't show proof on what exactly you know. But why the need for a certification, specifically in Microsoft Office? Believe it or not, there's been some extensive studies and research done about the effectiveness of the Microsoft Office Specialist Program. So research was conducted in 2012 showing the importance of the Microsoft Office Specialist certification. And the following results came out. So there's some points on the screen where it increases employee proficiency for all job types. It increases employee confidence, loyalty, and satisfaction. It improves employee effectiveness and initiative. Microsoft Office Specialist certification holders actively apply their new Microsoft Office skills for greater productivity in their work assignments. It helps employees gain competence and skill in using Microsoft Office to accomplish their work and assist co-workers. The full productivity study can be found at the link displayed. So we see that Microsoft Office Specialist certification holders are able to demonstrate their expertise in the workplace with Microsoft Office skills. They are able to work faster and are much more productive in their working environments. Getting the certification adds value in their resume, and employees are much more confident when solving problems in their daily work. The employee retention rate in a company improves too after employees get the opportunity to become certified. And what happens when an employee is certified? He or she becomes the office guru or the go-to person for office. The employee receives recognition and earns respect amongst his or her colleagues. The colleagues also then become motivated to pursue the same certifications. The value of certification is then realized. Certification brings all sorts of benefits, some being an increase in salary, more job opportunities available, a promotion, ultimately resulting in job satisfaction. But it doesn't only end there. It's not only for the adults. It's also for the kids. Who has kids here between the ages of 13 and 22? Kids between the ages of 13 and 22 also benefit with the Microsoft Office Specialist Program. If they participate in the exams and pass with high results and complete the exam in the shortest amount of time, they are automatically entered into the Microsoft Office Specialist World Championships. Yes, it's a competition for Microsoft Office mastery, open to the whole world. Your kid competes with other kids worldwide in the same age category, and there's some really awesome prizes to be won. Last year's prizes were the following. First place, $7,000 cash prize, a trophy, medal of achievement, a winner's certificate, and a lot of Microsoft branded goodies. Second place was $3,500 cash prize, medal of achievement, winner's certificate. Third place was $1,500, a medal of achievement, and a winner's certificate. For the South African audience here today, we had a student from a school in Cape Town come third place in Microsoft Word 2010 during the 2015 Microsoft Office World Championships. So your kid gets put on the map. The kid's school is represented. The country is represented. And your kid is recognized amongst his or her peers and teachers. In 2019, there were 850,000 participants across 119 countries. In the final round, there were 155 students from 50 countries competing. Unfortunately, the 2020 competition was called off because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Right, but how do we all get started? What is the first step? Well, firstly, I need to introduce the company that manages the Microsoft Office Specialist Program. They are called Certiport. Certiport, a Pearson VUE business, is one of the leading providers in performance-based IT certifications that offer the platform to write the Microsoft Office Specialist exam. They also offer other exams for other Microsoft technical certifications. They also do Adobe, Apple, EC Council, Autodesk, and more. There are over 12,000 Certiport authorized testing centers worldwide where you can write the exams. With the recent COVID-19 pandemic, exams can also be written from home. Certiport is headquartered in the United States, but there are various Certiport solution providers across the world which have a physical presence too. For the South African audience, there are offices in Johannesburg and Cape Town. These Certiport solution providers represent Certiport HQ and provide advice and solutions on all your Certiport education needs, such as information about courseware, testing center, exam information, exam costing, and other resources. I do recommend you get in touch with your nearest Certiport solutions provider. And I provided the link on the screen. These links will be shared with the presentation. So do visit this link to find your nearest solutions provider. Also visit the Microsoft Office Specialist section on the Certiport website to see the program, what the program is all about. The website provides all the information on study materials and practice material available for the exams, as well as information about the exam itself. We're going to look at some aspects in detail too in today's webinar. So we have different certifications available, and we have something for Outlook, we have something for PowerPoint, for Excel, for Access, and for Word. But how do I know what I'm going to be tested on? The Microsoft Office Specialist Program validates your Microsoft Office skills against a set of objectives or skills measured. These are skills that you should know when you're using a specific Microsoft Office application, and you should be able to apply them in any scenario presented to you. There's a set of objectives for each Office application. Some applications, such as Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel, have two sets of objectives that cover an entry-level exam and an intermediate to advanced level exam. We'll be going through all the current Office certifications available in a moment, focusing on the latest version released. In a nutshell, the set of objectives tell you what exactly you need to study for the exam. It's highly recommended you read through the objectives to understand what you need to know, so then you don't land up studying for the wrong content, and you land up studying things that you're not probably going to get in that particular version of the exam. You read through the objectives, and you'll have a clearer understanding what you're possibly going to be tested on. So all these links, again, will be shared, and all this information will be made available to you. The first one starting off is Microsoft Excel 2019 365 Associate. So the most recently released Microsoft Office Specialist exams are testing users on the Office 2019 and the Office 365 version of Excel. Microsoft Office 2019 is perpetually licensed, and Office 365 is subscription-based licensing. So looking at the first certification is the Microsoft Office Specialist Excel Associate Certification, Exam MO200. This exam is aimed at entry to intermediate level users of Excel. And what does it say here? We are managing worksheets, we're applying formulas and functions, creating charts and objects as well. We're managing the workbook, we're using graphics, we are trying to make professional looking documents such as budgets and statements, trying to make some performance charts, sales invoices, and it does indicate that you should have approximately 150 hours of instruction and hands-on experience with the product. So it really means that you should have some experience using Office. I do not recommend that you are, if you're a beginner and you're just starting to use Excel, that you try and this exam, go through some of the content, see what it's all about, and we have some of the objectives over here. So we have some objective domains which are also going to be made available to you. And you can have a look at the different elements that are being tested, things like importing data, things like customizing your views, things like formatting the cells, ranges, putting in things like define names, summarizing data visually with spark lines and conditional formatting, using table objects, your calculations or your functions such as your sum, average, max, and min, around count as well, using text functions like your right, left, and mid functions, and then creating charts, everything to creating this visual representation of your data. So I'll come to in a moment how exactly they'll test us. And we're just going to go through each of the different versions available and the different exams. So what we have here then is the Microsoft Excel 2019 365 Expert exam, exam MO201. And this is aimed at the intermediate to advanced levels, advanced level users of Excel. So what we're doing here, we're going one notch higher. We are creating professional worksheets. It says here for specialized purposes and situations. We are trying to customize Excel environments to meet project needs and enhance productivity. So we're going to see more advanced levels of Excel, some much more complicated functions, much more complicated ways to bring in some visuals to actually show my data in a completely different way. And looking at some of our objectives here, we see that we are looking at macros that are being tested. We have validation that's also being tested, some more type of functions, your logical functions. And you see things like the switch function, max if and min if. And so these functions weren't there really before Excel 2019. So if you're an Excel 2016 user, you're not going to be able to say complete this particular exam because, well, you wouldn't be able to practice the functions as they're not currently available on your particular application, that particular version. I'll come to in a moment what happens to the 2016 users, but if you have 2019, you have the 365 version, you'll have the switch function, you'll have maxif and minif, which have been around for some time. We're going to see VLOOKUP being tested. Unfortunately, if you're an XLOOKUP fan, it's not in the Excel exam at all. Right, so we are still being tested on VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, match, and the index functions. We see some date and time functions being tested. Data analysis tools using the Goal Seek and Scenario Manager. Even some financial functions available, such as your NPER functions, payment functions, etc. Troubleshooting formulas, looking at some advanced charting capabilities like your pivot tables and pivot charts. So these all get tested within the Excel 2019 365 Expert exam. Just to note that to do exam MO201, MO200 is not a prerequisite. So because I said entry level to intermediate and then intermediate to advanced, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to start at the associate certification to do the advanced certification or the expert. Personally, I'd recommend you do MO200 first, so you can assess the level of questions you get before attempting the MO201 exam. But nothing is stopping you from skipping MO200 to do MO201. If you think you know Excel really well, you want really a tough challenge, then be my guest and apply the skills and try to achieve this particular certification only. Moving on, we have Word. So the Microsoft Word users will enjoy this particular certification, the Associate, and it is demonstrating competency in using Microsoft Word, again at the entry level to intermediate environment. So what are we doing here? We are creating professional looking reports. We're doing a lot of editing, resumes, just so many applications of Microsoft Word are presented to us in the exam, and we need to apply the skills to actually then achieve that particular certification at the end. What are the exam objectives like? So we're seeing that we have to do some formatting, we need to do some saving and some printing as well. Document inspection is there. I particularly like document inspection a lot, especially the focus. One of my favorite things in Microsoft Office is a big focus on accessibility. How do we make Microsoft Office content accessible to everybody? What if we have persons who cannot really interact with the document as other users can? And so what can we do to set that up? We go into great detail if you ever attend a course or if you ever see some videos or training material behind this. And accessibility is focused on quite a lot. It's one of the things we may forget about, and it's not something we're deliberately forgetting about. It just doesn't really come to our mind when we look at something like that. So we see accessibility being tested. We're looking at document sections, so column breaks, section breaks, inserting tables, putting in lists, using some of your referencing tools, also inserting illustrations, graphical elements, as well as managing comments and tracking functionality. After the associate, we even have an expert level. So this is then now testing some really more complicated concepts within Microsoft Word. So expert level documents include business plans, research papers, brochures, mass mailing. Right? So your mail merge is a very popular item over here that gets tested. So what is this really all about? We are seeing that we are managing some templates. We're setting up the document for collaboration. So because we're using the Office 365 version of Microsoft Word, you will be expected to know how do you set up the perfect environment for collaborating on a specific document. Okay, so it is everything to do with an online document, sharing the document, making sure people have the necessary permissions to edit. We don't go too technical with that, but there's very simple ways to set up your permissions for sharing a document. We then see some find and replace functionality, the quick part function. Quick parts, don't think of quick parts are really used a lot, but we see that it's going to be tested here. Creating custom color sets, font sets, themes, and style sets. That's quite a section where if you are expected to set up a corporate identity for your company, let's say you have to follow your company colors, and you need to ensure that only your company colors are used in all of your documents instead of the color theme available currently in Word as the default. You will be asked to set up a custom color set. You'll be asked to set up indexes, a table of figures, table of contents. So using your styles as well in there. Looking at macros in Word, right? So it gets very complicated with macros in Word. How do we actually do that? And We then see ultimately the mail merge, your mass mailing tool, your ultimate mass mailing tool that we want to make use of. So again, with your Microsoft Word certification, just as your Excel one, we don't need to do the Microsoft Word entry-level certification to do the expert level. So the associate is not needed to do the expert. Right? So the same rule applies with the as with the Excel certification. Right? You can do Microsoft Word expert, or you can do Microsoft Word associate, or you can do both. There's no real order for that. We then come to a lot of people's favorites is PowerPoint, presentation tool. And with PowerPoint, we only have one exam. This is the only PowerPoint certification available. There's no varying levels. Pretty much everything is tested within the PowerPoint application. So what are we seeing here? The ability to create and manage presentations, inserting a variety of multimedia, setting up transitions, setting up animations, managing your presentations. And what do we have? We actually have 2 slides worth of objectives for this one here. We're doing everything from beginning to end. So as you start a presentation from scratch, all the way until you are ready to present and possibly even distribute a presentation. So changing your layouts, changing some settings, inserting slides, modifying them, putting in your various graphics, sorting out order, formatting images inside. We then see the ability to apply transitions. The Office 365 or 2019 version of the exam is now also testing on 3D slide transitions and 3D models. So it is quite a unique way of displaying some content. You also get tested on some of the new transitions available, such as the morph transition, the transition I'm currently using in this presentation. You also need to know how to insert your tables, your charts, smart art, as well as inserting other forms of media, such as inserting an online video. You may be asked to insert a YouTube video into your presentation, and there's steps to actually do that correctly without leaving your presentation. So you shouldn't need to minimize your presentation or escape it and then go and open up a browser window, go to your YouTube channel, and then play the video. We want to ensure that the audience is able to see the YouTube video whilst they are in the presentation. So then there's minimal disturbance whatsoever. We then have our Outlook certification. So what is Outlook really testing you on? It is the only certification demonstrating skills in using Microsoft Outlook. Again, no varying levels. It is the only exam available. We will see that everything to do with emails, calendar, contacts, and tasks are tested. The focus is only on end users or business users. So we won't see any technical content showing up that relate to setting up Outlook accounts or doing anything to configure Microsoft Exchange and the Office 365 Admin Center. So nothing of those sorts. It is just purely how to use the program on a regular basis, using day-to-day email communication, using your calendar for making appointments, using your tasks lists, managing your contacts. So let's see what the objectives are about. Right, so we want to configure certain mail settings. We want to be able to search correctly, printing and saving certain emails. We want to manage our messages. So how do we do archives? How do we use search folders? How do we set up recurring calendar items? How do we share our calendars, manage our appointments, using the scheduling assistant to figure out who is available, who is not available, and we are then creating contact groups and managing our tasks within Outlook. Right, so that's all we get tested in Outlook, nothing more than what the objectives display. And our last certification that we have is Microsoft Access 2019 Expert. This is the only certification demonstrating skills in using Microsoft Access. There's no levels here. Pretty much everything in Microsoft Access gets tested. And what is the Access exam all about? You are creating a lot of database objects such as tables, relationships, creating forms, reports, and a whole wide range of queries. Looking at our objectives here, setting up primary keys, setting up relationships and enforcing referential integrity, setting up foreign keys, managing your tables and modifying fields, running a whole bunch of queries too, modifying them, creating forms, and even creating reports. So everything to do with all the Access objects available within the Access application. So what about the 2016, 2013, and 2010 exams? So this is an excerpt from the Certiport website as of today. And what do we see here is that the version of 2016 is still available, right? So you can still be certified in Microsoft Office Specialist 2016, but we have seen that 2010 has started retiring, right? So the English version of the 2010 exam has officially been retired. Slowly all the languages will be retired. There's nothing much available on 2013. So the 2013 exams are also available for you to write if you're currently using Office 2013 inside your environment. And the only 2013 exam that has actually officially retired is the SharePoint exam. Now, I know there may be a question that may come up from time to time. Will we ever see a SharePoint end user certification like we saw at SharePoint 2013? We don't know, right? There's no information about that, if anything like that will be made available. To see other exam releases and retirements, visit the exam details page on the Certiport website.
Hey, Chintan, just before you switch slides,
yes,
I actually have a question here from Christine. Will any of my 2016 certifications transfer to the associate and expert levels?
No, so we will have the ability to get recertified. So you have to recertify in the new versions. However, your 2016, 2013 exams are valid for life. So they are valid or until there's a new version available, but nothing is being said of retirement for 2016 and 2013. So they're still perfectly valid. You're not going to see an automatic conversion from 2016 to the latest version because of the features that are now available in the newer versions. There's some new concepts that are being tested. Certain things fall away with the newer versions. So we do not see any ability to convert a prior certification to a new certification.
Thank you.
All right. So we also have something called the Microsoft Office Specialist Program Pathways. So you may choose to attain one, some, or all the certifications. However, doing all the certifications has its benefits. This particular pathway allows you to get certified in multiple certifications and achieve another better certification. So there are two levels available in the Microsoft Office Specialist certification pathway for Office 365 and Office 2019. We have the Specialist Associate and Specialist Expert. So to get the Specialist Associate certification, you don't need to do any other extra exam for that one. However, you need to be able to pass the Excel Associate, Word Associate, Outlook Associate, and PowerPoint Associate, any three of these, right? Not all of them, just three from the list, and you will become a Microsoft Office Specialist Associate. If you want to become an expert, you just need to pass any two of the Access Expert, Word Expert, or Excel Expert certifications, plus get the Microsoft Office Specialist Associate. So you'd have to get Associate with another exam out of the 3 that you see, with any 2 out of the 3 that you see to get the expert certification. So you'll get another certificate showing that you have now achieved the associate status, or you have achieved the expert status. Right, more information about that on the Certiport website. So you used to have on the uh, 2016 side of things, you have your Microsoft Office 2016 Master, right? That is still around, that is still applicable. There are various rules that need to be followed for attaining the master certification in 2016. Also, there's a master certification for 2013, and there's also rules behind that. And so you would want to visit the website below to find more information on that. I'm just talking about the Office 365 and Office 2019 ones available, as they're the most current releases available to us. What is the exam about then? Or what is it, or how is it going to be tested? So we have about 30 to 50 questions. They are project-based questions. What does project-based really mean? And this is an excerpt from the Certiport website. It is performance-based and live in the application. So if you're a user who has done another exam before, a Microsoft exam or any other exam, you may be used to getting multiple choice questions. You will not find not one multiple choice question here. Everything is tested on the actual application. So you'll be presented with a simulated environment of Microsoft Office. You'll be provided questions, and you need to demonstrate that you know how to apply the necessary concepts from that specific Microsoft Office application to the scenario or to the project-based question that gets provided to you. So we see it includes smaller or multiple smaller projects to assess skills within the Microsoft Office. We're tested on one project at a time, and these small projects test their skills as they would in the real world and validate their understanding of the Microsoft Office program functionality. We have 50 minutes for each exam, right? It is actually very little time that you have. That's just really under a minute per question. You need a minimum of 700 points out of a possible 1,000 points to pass the exam. Yes, the standards are very high, but the results in the end are rewarding. You get your results straight away, displayed on the screen. You'll get a transcript showing how well you did. In the next few days after passing your exam, you will get a certificate that looks something like this here. So we'll see that it has the official Microsoft logo. It has Microsoft Office Specialist, whatever level we're being tested on, with your name, successfully completed. And anybody can verify this particular certificate. It gives you details at the bottom left-hand corner that if you go to verify.certiport.com, you punch in that particular code that you see, and it can easily verify if somebody did get this particular certificate or not. You'll also get a PDF copy made available to you. Instructions on how to access the PDF certificate will be emailed to you. If you want to order a physical certificate, it comes at a cost, and that can be ordered on certiport.com once you have logged into your account. So what is this Certiport account all about? Or before we go into the Certiport account, we might want to talk about digital badging. So what is this digital badging? We'll see it is this way of showing the world that you have really achieved a particular certification. So you will have something displayed, an online badge that verifies the information or verifies your certification that you have actually achieved it. So you can put it on your CV, you can put it on your resume, you can actually put it up on your LinkedIn profile, your Facebook profile, embed it on your website. We have a website that really handles all of this for us. It is called Your Acclaim. So this is what it looks like. So you have a website called Acclaim by a platform called Credly, and they set up this website for you, showing all of your badges. These are visuals that have been created that really promote that you have achieved a certain certification. It is like your certificate that you saw earlier, but this is something that can be really shared all over the place. So you have a variety of badges available for the Microsoft Office applications, and you have many more that are available just by looking at one over here. The Excel Associate, it displays your badge, displays a little description about it, the skills that are needed for this, and how do we actually earn this particular certification. Anybody can verify this. You can share it across all social media platforms. You can even download the logo and place it wherever you like.
Chintan, quick question by
Yes.
Kelvin here. Will there be any physical certificate sent once you pass the exam?
So I stand to be corrected. At a certain point, you were mailed your physical certificate. Right. So I did for some exams I completed last year. I got them mailed to me physically in your fancy envelope, and it's really it is mailed to you quite nicely. However, I do understand that has been stopped. It is no longer something that will be made available. However, like I said, I do stand to be corrected on that. The PDF versions are only available at this point in time. And like I said, if you want to order your own, you are welcome to order it, and they will send it to you via mail.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. So these are my badges. So when you have this badge, you put it all over the place, you show it off in the world. You're showing it off in the world that you have achieved mastery in a specific or all Microsoft Office applications, a badge for each application. It's really something that you'd like to show off to everyone around the world. And I just mentioned very briefly that to get all this started, we need to have a Certiport account created. So the Certiport account is mandatory. You want to set it up before the exam because what happens with the Certiport account, it's completely, first of all, free, and it will be the place or the portal where all your exam results will be stored. It will also be the place to access your PDF certificates. So follow the steps on the website, certiport.com. Make sure you store your Certiport account username and password safely. Do not share it with anyone. You will need these details when you go write a Certiport exam. Before starting the exam, you'll be required to sign into your account, so the results will get stored immediately after the exam. So to find out more details on the availability of exams in your country and exam costs, contact your nearest Certiport solution provider. You're welcome to contact me too, and I'll share my details at the end of this presentation. But you want to really do the certification. Where do I start studying? So there are various resources available. My favorite is the Microsoft Press Store. We have some awesome study guides available, some by some really renowned authors that have also been in the Microsoft Office specialist space for a very long time. LinkedIn Learning has some great content too. We have instructor-led training available. You contact a training company in your area. We have online facilitated training too. There's official practice material available too by providers such as Gmetrics, LearnKey, Jasper Active, and Brain Buffet. To get more information about these providers, contact your nearest Certiport solution provider because they're offered through the Certiport platform. And would you find me? These are my social media channels. I conduct training for the Microsoft Office applications. I prepare candidates for the Microsoft Office Specialist certifications. I work for myself as well as other training providers. I assist schools, universities, and colleges with Microsoft Office Specialist. if you want to prepare your kids for the Microsoft Office Specialist Championships, let me know. I'll be very happy to help them out. I also do consulting work around the Microsoft Office applications, as well as for some of the Microsoft Office 365 applications, such as SharePoint, Teams, Power BI, Excel, VBA, with my main focus being empowering end users, business users, and information workers with the knowledge and skills to achieve mastery over these applications. And so solutions can be found to existing challenges in the working environment around them. So thank you for attending this webinar. I hope you found it insightful. Happy to answer any particular questions that may be available.
Okay, so thank you very much. And let's take a look at some of the questions. Some of them I think you already answered. First of all, are there practice exam sites for the new 365 tests such as Gmetrics? And I think that's the name that you had in the slides as well, right?
Yes, so Gmetrics is a provider. The new Office 2019 and 365 practice tests are available through Gmetrics. It is definitely something that can be procured. Like I said, go contact your nearest Certiport solutions provider for that information.
Awesome. Next question from Manish. What is the age for students for champions?
Okay, so you have to be between the ages of 13 and 22. And how it works, what will actually happen when you go write the exam, if you're in that age category, you would write and book for the exam, or you book for the exam normally, you'll go write it, you go and pass it. And if you're in that age category and you get a high enough score and you actually finish the exam in a really short amount of time, you'll automatically be entered into the competition. So you don't need to fill out forms, you don't need to submit any results to anybody. Everything happens automatically, and you will then be contacted by Certiport directly if you're qualifying to participate in these championships.
Awesome. Let's take a look at the next one. Is there anywhere I can go get assistance learning the newer features in areas such as Excel experts? I currently hold certifications in Word Expert, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint in all 2016, but struggle with the Expert Excel new features.
Okay, so I did mention the study resources available. However, I think if you do want some specific attention, that is something I specialize in as well. It was not originally planned for this particular webinar, and it may be held in the future. But if you have all these certifications already and you want to go further in them, I can provide assistance in that. So please do get in touch with me for that. And I can provide more resources around that, probably even a mentorship opportunity for that.
Awesome. And I think this, well, not I think, the slides will be available and will be sent by email. So if you missed this slide with the resource names, you'll have it within 48 hours in your inbox, a link to it. So you can take a look back at that slide. Okay, another question. Is there any relation between the Microsoft Learn account, which I use for technical Microsoft certification, and the Certiport account? My understanding is that both are run by Pearson VUE or Certiport.
Okay, so there is no relation between the two. They are completely separate, even though that Microsoft Learn is something set up by Microsoft. It is mostly for the technical certifications. Everything with Microsoft Office is handled by Certiport, so you'd need to create a separate Certiport account for that. However, I recommend what you would do is the same email account that you use for Microsoft Learn should be used for Certiport as well. Right, at some point, there is a functionality to link your accounts together so that everything happens under one account. So I do recommend that you really use one email address for everything Microsoft related, But yes, a separate account would have to be created for your Certiport account, a separate account for Microsoft Learn. It's unfortunately not anything about Microsoft Office is not available under Microsoft Learn, even though both are run by Pearson VUE or Certiport. Certiport is owned by Pearson VUE, but they operate slightly differently.
Awesome. And one final question from Manish, which is the follow-up to the student champion question. How many attempts are allowed for students?
Well, there is no real limit for a attempt for a certification. There are rules around for exams on how many times you can do an exam in a certain time period. But what you need to really aim for to really achieve true mastery or true, a better chance of qualifying for the championship is you want to try to get 100%. Right? It's very easy to get 100% first of all for the exam. Where everyone struggles with the exam is the time limit. People run out of time. They're not able to finish on time. If you're able to complete the exam in the shortest amount of time possible, and you have a really high score, so if you can even get 100% and you can get it done really quickly, then there are higher chances for you to be qualified for the championship. But there's no real limit on how many attempts allowed. Right? So when you pass the one exam, you'll see your time that you made, the score that you got, and that will then tell you, okay, you need to do better and better. There's no real benchmark available. Just try to do your best as much as you can. Maybe somebody can beat my record. I completed the PowerPoint 2016 exam within 14 minutes. Right? So maybe somebody can beat my record. Unfortunately, I can't participate because I'm well over age.
I was not going to make any jokes that it's too late for you. But wow, 14 minutes for 50 questions. You're fast.
Mm.
And that's about it for the questions, Chintan. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this webinar for the community. I really hope it'll get a lot more business users, end users, or really even technical users that want to make sure they master the office tools that we use in our day-to-day communication and collaboration. Because I mean, after all, even if you're technical, I'm sure you spend a lot of time in Outlook and Word. So really excited for all of the content you shared today. And I know that you've been really passionate about the MAS certifications, and I hope a lot of people will reach out to you to learn more about those as well. For everybody on the call, don't hesitate to reach out to Chintan on LinkedIn. He shared his contact information a bit earlier, but LinkedIn, he publishes amazing content on YouTube as well. So make sure to follow him in a bunch of places. And that's it for everyone. Thank you very much for attending. The recording will be shared with you within 48 hours. If you think any colleague or friend would benefit from this, please forward them the recording. We want the more people to access this knowledge as possible. And have a great rest of the week. We're almost Friday and the weekend is almost here. So enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Vlad. Thank you, everybody.